Hi. So I was sitting here trying to make my 10 least favorite Pokemon video when I got to an entry that probably everybody was expecting. Sorry ass Pikachu. Forget Pikachu, I've got my own electric rat, and it ain't fucking Pikachu. And asshole. Yes, Pikachu. So sorry for the spoiler, I guess. But I started hammering out that section of the video, and I realized it was a lot more complicated than I don't like this Pokemon for this, and this reason. Eventually I had so much fleshed out that I realized that it actually needed its own video, because how I feel about Pikachu today goes all the way back to when Pokemania first struck our unsuspecting planet. And now, story time with Dookie. I was in 6th grade when Pokemon Red and Blue came out, or at least when they had become popular enough for everyone to know about them. It was a phenomenon. This game was unlike anything we'd ever seen before. An RPG that actually let you capture the monsters you fought and put them on your team? It was brilliant, and the fact that there were 150 of them made it that much cooler. Yeah, some Pokemon were more popular than others, like Charizard and Blastoise for example, but it was still fresh and new, and everyone had different favorites for different reasons. And Pikachu? Well, it really was nothing special, except that it was. Pikachu was a rare encounter in the Viridian Forest, and it was the first electric type you could catch, and it was actually pretty strong. Not only that, but Pikachu is one of the most fantastically designed Pokemon, with the perfect balance between cute and cool. Believe it or not, I loved Pikachu back in the day. I knew from the moment that I started up Blue version that I wouldn't leave the Viridian Forest until I had captured one, and that's exactly what I did. I had that Pikachu on my team the whole way through until, of course, I got to Celadon City and was able to evolve it into a Raichu with a Thunderstone. And it stayed with me through the Elite Four and was one of the first 6 Pokemon to reach level 100. And then the cartoon came out. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I didn't watch it, because you can bet your ass I did. Pokemon had reached a point of popularity unlike any other fad the world had ever seen and probably will ever see. It wasn't just a video game anymore, it was a show. It had toys, books, plushies, and a card game. Kids who weren't actually into Pokemon the game got into it because it was just the thing to do. And it was all fueled by one incompetent trainer and his grossly overpowered electric mouse. Kids who were younger than me and didn't know any better were convinced Pikachu was the best Pokemon. When I watched the cartoon, I spent a lot of time being irritated at the inaccuracies. I played the fucking games, and I knew my stuff, and this silly-ass TV show was broadcasting all this false information to kids who didn't know any better. Pikachu beating an entire flock of Spearow, an Onix, and a Raichu? Are you kidding me? What's the tagline of this entire franchise? Gotta catch 'em all, not gotta use one Pokemon that's grossly overpowered for no particular reason. One of my favorite Pokemon was quickly becoming everyone's favorite, but for all the wrong reasons. He wasn't that cute, rare, hidden gem you'd find in Viridian Forest if you happen to be so lucky. He was, wow, fucking Pikachu! Jeez, he's the best! Oh my god! He's like #1 in the Pokedex and probably stronger than Raichu and he kills ground types! Wow! What made Pikachu special to me was completely lost on the majority of the fandom. And then something huge happened. Game Freak released Pokemon Yellow version, and that changed everything. In a very successful attempt to appeal to Pokemon fans who hadn't gotten into the games and only watched the show, Game Freak made a Generation 1 game where you started with a Pikachu that followed you around and wouldn't evolve. Just like Ash's. Yep, a game based on a show based on a game. Not only that, but the Pikachu in Yellow version actually said Pikachu. In the games, Pokemon don't say their names. It just doesn't make sense. They make noises like real animals. We've seen this in every generation with the exception of Pikachu in Yellow. That should have just been another little inaccuracy from the show, yet it made its way into a main series game, making it official, along with how Trainer Red was from that point on always shown with a Pikachu. Red! My favorite trainer, a total badass, the greatest Pokemon trainer to ever exist. Would Red really have an unevolved Pokemon on his team? No. But Ash did. Ash, who is actually based on Red. I hope I'm not the only one who sees how backwards this is. Now you might be saying, Dookie, calm the fuck down. What's actually even wrong with this? Well, after doing all this ranting and raving about it, I've come to realize nothing is wrong with it. It actually makes perfect sense. See, I'm not the kind of guy that casts judgment on a company just because they want to make more money as long as they're not poisoning puppies or something to do it. For example, the 2DS does seem a bit silly and pointless to me, but I understand that Nintendo is trying to capture a part of the market they may have been missing before some of their big 3DS releases come out. So when Nintendo tried to capitalize on Pikachu's popularity to make the Pokemon games appeal to a wider audience, well, they succeeded. And now that I think about it, that's a good thing. And I don't know if it necessarily had to be Pikachu specifically. I've heard that Clefairy was originally supposed to be Ash's companion, but Pikachu was certainly a great choice due to the many things that make it a solid Pokemon. I mean, would Pokemon be as popular as it is today if Pikachu hadn't been such a successful tool at roping more people in? And if Pokemon wasn't as huge as it is today, I might not even be here on YouTube, so really I guess Pikachu did nothing but good for the franchise. So thank you, Pikachu. I guess I've just had years of ranting bottled up that I needed to get out of my system, but honestly I can't hold it against someone for liking Pikachu. After all, maybe you like him for the same reasons I did and just didn't become a grumpy fuck like me when everyone else started liking him too. I can't say I'm terribly happy that my favorite trainer's team was directly affected by one Pokemon's popularity, and I'm still not thrilled with the fact that you can hardly buy a single piece of Pokemon merchandise that doesn't have Pikachu all over it, but I guess that's a small price to pay for creating such an amazing community full of people that have something in common. So maybe he shouldn't be on my 10 least favorites. Wow, this video didn't really end the way I thought it would. I gotta go think about some things.